Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Armored Warfare replay brought to you by your old friend, Don't Fear the Reaper. Today, we're going to be looking at a couple of replays and doing a review of the newest pack to enter the game, the Reaper pack, which is actually comprised of a reskin of two old vehicles. Actually some of the first premium vehicles to come into Armored Warfare. They are the Tier 6 BMPT Terminator and the Tier 6 Expeditionary Tank. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and skip over to the garage and have a look. And this is the Expeditionary Tank. It is a tank destroyer. A quick look at the stats. I'm not going to go into too much detail because you can read the stats as easily as I can in the garage. But it's base damage 339, has penetration of 303 millimeters, very respectable. Damage per minute of 3430, and that's without retrofits. You'll see that I've taken the retrofits off of my tank. Reload time, 5.93 seconds base, has 1,540 hit points, which is what you'd expect for a tank destroyer at this tier. Max speed of 79.2, which you're never going to achieve. Has a really fast hull traverse. Camouflage is pretty good, but don't count on that to save you. The view range is very respectable at 425 meters base. The cannon depression is excellent at minus 12 degrees fore and aft. Accuracy spread is quite good. Aim time, decent. And the turret traverse is also pretty good. Now we get to the bad part. This thing has no armor at all, basically. We're talking 18 millimeter max, 15 millimeters in most places, 12 millimeters out the back. It's so bad that it doesn't even discriminate between the types of rounds. It just doesn't matter. Unless your tracks eat the round, you're going to get penetrated if you get hit. Now, that's the bad news. The not so bad news is the most likely place that you're going to get hit is here in the turret, and the turret is unmanned. So penetrating hits against an unmanned turret do not do full damage. So when you're playing this tank, you're going to want to work ridge lines, use cover, try to keep your hull as unexposed as humanly possible, and only present the enemy with your turret whenever you possibly can. Now, the best role for this tank in both PvP and PvE is long-range sniper. You want to, as best you can, stay out of the detection range of the bots and snipe them from afar. And, in PvE, which is mostly what I play, I don't do just a tremendous amount of PvP, but in PvE, map selection is key for success with this tank. You want to avoid the highly urbanized maps and try to stay in the more open maps with longer fields of fire. Now, you can be very successful even in a urban type map. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you a replay where I took this tank out on Kodiak, which I would consider a hybrid map. About half the map is desert, rolling desert, and about half the map is a port facility. So let's go ahead and fire up Mr. Replay. And not only was I very successful in this tank, I was successful in this tank with some really crappy matchmaking. I mean, look at this. We don't have a single battle tank. And we've got a Weasel, we've got a Cent 120. We've got artillery, and we've got a Typhon, which, to me, the Typhon is one of the most unfun tanks to play in the game, but that's just me. And we're not really here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this thing. So, getting ready to start up here on the Kodiak map. Again, you can see that it is what I would refer to as a hybrid map, half open, half urbanized. And then what I'm going to do is run over. There's a rock over here overlooking the first objective. You can get behind that, and the artillery has a hard time sniping in on you. Of course, everybody knows that, so we're all vying for space on the rock. And you can see I did, with my first shot, 348 points of damage.
That's how they advance so quickly.
So we're just banging away at the bots as they crawl onto the first cap. Pull back to get a shot at these guys. So good stuff here at the start. And here comes that artillery. That poor Centauro, he was a little too far out from the rock and he got whacked by the artillery. Fortunately, didn't do too much damage. Our Palmaria is in trouble. The artillery's wailing on him. I am looking for... Oh, there he is. That's what I was expecting. I don't want these guys coming down and taking out our artillery. I'm banging away at that Thunderbolt. He just spotted me, so I pulled back. Come over here. Now, you see how I'm using the side of my tank so that I don't have to poke my nose over the ridge line. I'm working my turret, trying to expose just my turret as I'm firing at these two Stingrays. Take one of them out. Banging away on the other one. Somebody else got him, but that's okay. Team game. So, Typhon has been chewed on. Centauro's about half health. Our artillery's in bad shape. Fortunately, I haven't been hit yet.
Enemies converging at the helipad. Do not let them
Again,
land their birds here.
Trying to minimize the exposure of my hull as I engage these tanks. Start banging away at this M1A1. Oh, and here's a tip. Some of the best cover now in PvE is actually a dead tank. Seeing that Tank Hulk reminded me of that. And the reason for that is that the bots don't see their own dead. They just don't exist for them. And you'll have noticed in the last patch that if bots can't fire at your center mass, they will actually try to aim for your weak points, either your driver's hatch or your commander's hatch. Well, if you get behind a dead tank, they don't see that. They just see you out there in the open, and they'll have a tendency to continue to fire center mass, which is going to hit that Tank Hulk. And we have found that to be a very successful tactic in PvE play. So here we're just trying to scrape these guys off of the second cap point. Oh, bounce that shot. And you can see, even though I am taking the sniper role, I am getting close enough to get some spots. Of course, with this matchmaking, I don't have much choice. Get that Abrams out of there. Again, I apologize for the hoarseness of my voice. Our Centauro is really banged up. Our Typhoon is really banged up. The Weasel and I are still in pretty good shape. Artillery, all that really matters is whether he's still alive or not. And he is. Oh, there he... Oh, that's the Typhoon. So again, I'm going to go out here in the field, try to work some of these dunes, use them as ridge lines. Again, trying to limit exposure of my hull to enemy fire.
They could go naval if they capture that area. Get over there.
Trying to take out that Stingray. We get him. Everybody's really banged up, but everybody is still in the game, which is good. That's a testament to good play with this mix on this map. So I noticed that we haven't gotten this secondary, so I make a quick run down to nab it. My expectations are not high that we're going to get all the secondaries, but if we can get one or two, that's cool. So just kind of looking here, we're all doing pretty well. Oh, except we just lost two tanks. We lost the Weasel and we lost the Typhoon. So all we have left is the oh, okay, he used his the Weasel used his repair kit to come back, so he's back at 60%. Which is good. We need all the help we can get. As you can see, there's lots of cover here. Get that, scrape that 2AV off, Cap. Remember right, he's facing me, and I'm having trouble picking out his weak spot because I don't have this tank optimized. It's got a... the crew isn't fully trained. I don't have any retrofits on it. So pixel hunting at that distance can be a little bit of a challenge. I didn't realize until just now that that Weasel was missile-armed. You know, I've had some luck with missile-armed Weasels on certain maps. I played one on Frostbite where I had just an excellent game. So, you know, the common wisdom that missiles on the Weasel are a waste, I think that's a little premature. I mean, I think it's a little more useful overall with the autocannon, but on certain maps, oh, that's my first time I actually take a gun hit. I think it was from that Stingray. Yeah, it was from the Stingray. But you can see the game is almost over, and we win. So, good stuff. So that is a look at the experimental tank. I've been wanting this tank for a long time just because I'm a bit of a preemie whore. Actually, I'm a lot of a preemie whore. And when this tank was on the market the first time, I was still a World of Tanks player primarily. And I wasn't totally committed to the idea that I was going to make even a partial switch to Armored Warfare. I got into the game by buying the RDF LT as part of the Founders Pack. I cheaped out. I just bought the RDF LT. And by the time that I decided that Armored Warfare was for me, the original version of this tank had come and gone. So I had to wait the year for them to bring it back. And the second that it was available again, I availed myself to it. Now, you probably already know this, but if you owned the original tanks, you can get this tank for free simply by playing 5 games in the time period that they allow it. It's the Monday after this vehicle came out for a couple of days. So if you're watching this video when it first comes out, and you have the original, you can get these reskins for free if you jump into some gameplay and knock out 5 or 10 games. So that is the Expeditionary Tank. So now let's go ahead and I'll show you what retrofits I put on it. Now, this is not saying this is a panacea and everybody should do this, but I put the chrome barrel lining on mine, the augmented breech lock, and for my technology slot, I use the ubiquitous intercom systems. Take a quick look. It does help your vehicle quite a bit. Ups the damage, ups the penetration, ups the accuracy. All good stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and have a look at the BMPT Terminator. Again, you can see I've stripped the retrofits off so that we can have a less biased look at the stat lines. So here, this is the damage from the autocannon. And then from the missile, it's quite a bit better. It does 515 per hit. Cannon on a autocannon on a penetration does 45. Cannon's penetration is 120 millimeters. Your missile's penetration is 668. Damage per minute, 6,711. Don't believe it, because you're never going to penetrate every hit with your autocannon. Reload times on the gun is a very respectable 9 seconds. The reload on a salvo of 4 missiles is 24 seconds. Okay? It's pretty low on hit points for the tier, 1100. Its max speed is decent. Its acceleration is okay. Hull traverse is pretty good. Camouflage is again good, but again, don't count on camouflage to save you. View range is very respectable. Cannon depression is respectable. Accuracy spread is good. Aim time is decent. And turret traverse is decent. Armor is interesting. Basically, you've got a very troll hull, particularly on the front armor. Very good. Look at the various rounds. This vehicle does have, of course, now the turret is weak, as one might expect, but it is also unmanned. So hits against the turret do not do full damage. The thing that you're going to have to be careful with when you're playing this vehicle is you want to protect this right here, this driver's hatch, because that driver's hatch is actually pretty much center mass if you're dead on to the enemy. So you want to be at a very slight angle. You don't want to be giving them this driver's hatch. So you either want to work a ridge line and cover it, or do some slight angling to where they can't easily penetrate it. And that's going to be true in PvP as well as PvE, because the PvP players know where the weak spots are on this tank as well. If you've got to hit up here, try to aim for this box right here. Or if you can't hit the box, hit the post that the guns are mounted on. Those are the places where you're most likely to actually do damage rather than just knock out a module. Now it's going to be interesting to see how this tank works once 2.0 comes out. We're all kind of reading the developer notes with a little bit of trepidation, tiny bit of excitement with the upcoming announced nerf of autocannons and changes to the way missiles work. It's going to be interesting to see how this tank evolves from where it is now to where it becomes in 2.0. Right now, I would consider this a pretty OP vehicle, just because it's pretty tough to deal with it if you know how to drive the thing. And speaking of driving the thing, let's go ahead and take a look at a replay. This is either like the first or the second time that I played the Terminator, and this is on the Prometheus map. Again, I don't know why. I seem to, when I'm playing by myself and I'm not playing with my battalion, I seem to draw these matches where there are no battle tanks. Well, we've got one. We've got a Chieftain Mark V, but he's low in the tier. Okay. So I'm asking, since we're all like AFVs, and yeah, which one of us is going to go north and get the secondaries, so that we don't all go north to try and get the secondaries. Since I'm the closest thing to it, my initial plan is to basically run my Terminator like a battle tank, because we need battle tanks. And I'm the closest thing to it besides the Chieftain. The other thing, I just remembered about this game. I was trying to accomplish the moving target mission. So I was moving my tank when I was firing, which is not normally the best way to go about it. But again, I was trying to accomplish a mission. I don't particularly like this particular mission because I think it promotes poor gameplay. Because given your druthers and all things being equal, you would rather be stationary while you're fighting rather than moving like I am now. So I stood up there on that island a little too long, took a nasty hit. Lesson learned on that deal. Alright. My compadres have taken care of the artillery. So we're going to move on up, clear out the last of these bots, and then move on to the second objective. Again, you can see I'm going out of my way to fire on the move. But then, just so you're aware, that is a mission-driven choice, not a tactical decision, really. You know, as I stopped and reloaded, and I try to remember to do that when there are lulls in the fighting, and I've got an autocannon armed vehicle, I will reload so that I'm ready when the next fight comes out. Again, moving and shooting at the artillery would have been better served to just sit there and pound the thing. Take the artillery out. We've already lost our actual battle tank, which is not good.
Identify target.
Bang away on that leopard, get him, but again, firing on the move. So then I notice that we don't have anybody on the cap at the moment, so I'm maneuvering to get up on the cap after we take care of this bagel panzer. I got a dog that's being annoying here. Let him get in my lap so we don't have to listen to him bark. So, we capture the red cap. Good stuff. You'll notice that I'm using my autocannons way more than my missiles. And again, that's because of the mission. This vehicle cannot fire missiles on the move. Come up and polish off that V at Mark V. Come up and see what we can do about this Abrams. Somebody bags him. Take out that BMP. All good stuff. Our Bradley's having an excellent game. He's on 11 kills. I only have 3 kills, but I do have 5,000 damage. I would probably have a lot more damage if I were using my missiles more than my autocannon. But again, my tactics are a little clouded by the mission that I'm trying to accomplish. Run past that Bradley as my magazine runs dry. So now we need to take out the third cap, or defend it. So I almost invariably, when we start this matchup, I will run over the bridge and get behind that little peninsula that you see up there in Bravo 3, because right at the tip of that peninsula, about 30 seconds in to the third spawn, an artillery will pop up. And since I was a little late getting here, he's probably going to be there when I round this this headway here. And there he is. Take him out. Again, take him out on the move. But I mean, it's a testament to the versatility of this vehicle that I'm able to contribute to, as well as I have, to the team while working on one of these missions. I actually, I figure I've made my mission, that I've shot enough tanks moving, And I'm actually starting to switch to my missiles now. Take out that Leopard 2. And we've lost 2 of our vehicles, but we only have like about a minute left. We've got this pretty well in hand. Again, use a missile. Take out that Bagel Panzer. Then I notice that there's a Leopard coming up behind me. So I get ready to let him have it with a salvo of missiles.
Reloading. Target eliminated.
3 missiles and 1 dead Leopard 2 AV. Enemy BMP Terminator. Take him out with my guns. And this match is almost over. So good stuff. I don't remember if I get that Terminator or not. One thing about the Tier 6s, their missiles have a tendency to hit because there's very few things at Tier 6 and not that many things at Tier 7 that have APS. So unlike the high-tier missile vehicles where you're pretty much guaranteed that a quarter to a half of your missiles get knocked down by APS, most of your missiles are actually going to get the job done with this particular vehicle. So once we get back to the garage, I'll show you my retrofit loadout for the Terminator, and then we'll kind of talk about my opinion on whether you want to buy these or not. So on my Terminator, I have augmented breech lock, chrome barrel lining. It's mostly for the autocannon. Doesn't really affect missiles. And then, of course, the ever popular intercom systems. And I find that works pretty well for me. So, do you want these tanks? They're priced very reasonably. They're about 3,250 gold a piece, I think, which is quite reasonable for Tier 6. One of them currently is very OP. One of them is a decent enough tank destroyer. They're both excellent money earners. I give them a thumbs up. I mean, if you're into the premium tank scene, then you will be wanting to add these to your collection with the proviso that we don't know what the Terminator is going to look like after the first quarter of next year when 2.0 comes out. So there's your look at the Reaper Bundle Pack. I enjoyed bringing this these replays and this review to you. I hope you got a little something out of it. And so until next time, happy tanking.